from all of our triathlon experiences, we enjoyed the triathlons, but they were, I would say, like very manicured events. Like you're swimming in this like one direction and then you're coming back. I think for us, like triathlon was a little bit more similar to like camping, whereas Swimrun was a little bit more like backpacking. Like it's something that you have to like really be in the water, be on the trails, and like immerse yourself in the full experience, even to be able to go to these places and to do it. And so this like, I think this adventure nature side was a draw, and we never really liked the bike, to be honest.
Welcome to the Löw Tide Böyz, a Swimrun podcast. I'm Chip.
And I'm Chris, and this is episode 318 of the show. It's crazy that we're saying this, but we are kicking off our 5th annual Partners Month.
Our favorite month of the year.
Favorite month of the year, Valentine's month. And this tradition started by accident, like a lot of our things.
Like
we kind of like
here.
backed into a theme one February, long from times gone yonder.
Yeah.
And Partners Month was born. We get so much feedback for this month. We love it. We're highlighting essentially our favorite part of the sport, the team aspect.
The team aspect. We are originally a team, and what we love to do on Partners Month is showcase different types of teams. Chris and I are sort of like an anomaly. We've been mostly monogamous partners for Swimrun since 2018, but there are people that haven't met at all before. There's people of all different endurance backgrounds, some with pretty much none, some with very high levels, and everything in between. And we feel like it's our job to kind of bring in the mix of folks. And there always is cool stories, tips, tricks along the way, which what makes Partners Month so great.
Absolutely. And a little bit of some foreshadowing. If you loved our throwback mixtape number 1 for Team Swimrun Labs, just wait for number 2.
It's true.
It's perfectly fitting for Partners Month. And yeah, it's number 2 for a reason.
I see what you did there. But our first team here for Partners Month in 2026 is team Girls Just Want to Have Buoys. Allison and Brooke from the New England area are joining us. We have ran into them a few different times, and we share those fun stories throughout at Casco Bay. We also ran into them and then ran past them, and they were hooting and hollering at us in Austin. And they reached out to us after and made a very strong proposal on why they felt like they should be on the show. And you know what? Approved.
Yeah.
So here they are. But a great conversation with Allison and Brooke.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was super fun to chat with them. They're sort of at the beginning of their swimrun journey. They've done a couple of races together, and it's the type of thing where it's just cool to see kind of where they want to take the sport. And as we talked about in the episode, it isn't about, not everyone needs to be on some hero quest to do the Swimrun World Championship. Like, you can just keep doing sprints and enjoy those and have fun, no problem. And yeah, so this conversation is great. If you're new to swimrun or seasoned, grizzled veterans like we are, I think you'll enjoy this conversation. But we got some show business this week.
We do. We always we have some show business. We have a couple codes to share with you all. We're super stoked on the 2026 season. I don't know if you heard, but it is the year of Swimrun this year. And we're kicking it off at the end of May at Orcas Island. So Löw Orcas Island is the first race we'll be at. We have a code that will save you 10% off any Löw race, and that's LTBZ10. LTBZ10. The number 10 will save you 10% off any race, and we're going to be at 3/4 of them on the Löw circuit this year, but Orcas is the first one.
See you there.
So see you there. We're bringing the climbing legs. We got 50K prep for this. We have all sorts of stuff, so we're going to be ready. A little bit unfinished business, I guess, is probably the best way to put it for Orcas.
Yeah, we're going to keep it positive, but it's a lovely course, and we're going to try to enjoy it.
Yeah, and I actually think that race, besides being maybe one of our top 5 most memorable swimrun experiences, I would say, for me personally, really kind of kicked off this discovery and journey into fueling and performance. And it really coincided with us starting to work with Precision Fuel and Hydration, which we're really stoked to share that They're supporting us again here in 2026. Andy,
bravo on that segue. That was great. That was lovely.
thanks. Yeah, 318 reps.
That was awesome.
On segues. But
Bravo.
Andy Blow. Andy Blow and the team over at PFH have just, I mean, one, they're just the greatest blokes there are out there. Just a couple of swell guys, but they love to share in a fun swim run as well. I know they've done countless themselves. Andy Blow's done Otelo, the World Championship, three or four times at least. But yeah, so we have a code to share for any new orders on that. What's that code?
Löw Tide 2026.
Löw Tide 2026.
15% off your first order.
Off your first order. So go ahead and order up. I know we stock up a couple times a year. What are some things in Chris's shopping cart that you stock up on when you do your Mondo PFH orders?
I mean, my shopping cart is pretty standard at this point.
Okay.
Ton of 1500 because that's just the only number that I use.
You having that pre hard workout, during hard workout, after hard workout. I know I am doing that the same.
Yeah, sometimes in training, just to like spare some, I'll just drink water like during the activity, but I'll still do sort of the protocol beforehand. So let's say we're doing like this weekend, we're gonna do this big old run.
I'm looking forward to it.
The night before, I'm gonna do my bottle of 1500. The morning, I'm gonna sip a bottle before we go. I'll probably just drink water during our run, and then immediately afterwards pop another.
So like a little bit of practicing race protocol, which is certainly something that we're definitely preach. So you get the 1500, you get a bunch of 30s.
Bunch of 30s. I usually don't get as many 30s if I know I'm racing USA events because they're home races. For if it's an Attila USA race, which I know we love to just know we have our product there. And then I'll get, usually once a year, I'll get 9 packs of the 90 gels. Because I don't like those as much as Chipper does, but I do actually like them for like marathons and like long runs and things like that, because it's just like less waste and you can run with the 90. I'll get a ton of 1500, some gels, and then a box of 90s, and that usually holds me over for 6 months, 5 months.
That's a 6 month thing.
Maybe 4 months.
Nice. I think my last order had some 1500. Definitely a box of the 30 with calf. So those are something that I've been using caffeine in my fueling strategy lately. I'll do, for this long run that we have, I'll probably hit a calf gel before we get started and bring some on the trip because we're going to be out there for 3.5-ish hours doing a 30K trail run out this weekend. 1500 calf, and I love the 90s. So I'm buying two 10 packs of 90s. And then those are ones that I'm using. Like Chris said, I love them on trail runs. They're just easier to carry. And it's really easy for me to say, I need to have one of these an hour. And when I look or when my watch goes off, I just know, hey, if I'm reach the hour, let me get this thing down the hatch and on to the next one. I have been working with their high carb mix as well. So sometimes for swims, I'll add some of their electrolyte high carb mix. Just gives me some calories and some electrolytes in the pool for like an hour effort, maybe 30 grams of carbs there. I can vouch for pretty much everything they have, as well as the salt tabs. So they come in this pack. I think there's 15, maybe 12 to 15 salt tabs. And those I deploy during our swim run specific sessions to make sure I'm replenishing my electrolytes, because we are just normally drinking water out there, and I even get a soft flask here and there as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's the other thing I was going to say, like checking your equipment. So if you're using a soft flask, just getting them in and out of your suit and falling and filling them up, like they don't stay perfect condition. If you got a big race coming up, it's a nice little treat. Treat yourself with the fresh flask.
Nice. They got chews and all sorts of other stuff as well. So kind of whatever you're into, check it out. But make sure to use that code Löw Tide 2026 to save yourself 15% off your first order. And that's the show business.
I think so. I think with that, should we just kick off Partners Month?
Let's kick off Partners Month, 5th annual. Here we are, Partners Month 2026. Brooke and Allison, team girls just want to have boys. I think that's how they said it. Boys. Yeah. There's lots of umlauts and other dots and things around.
It's great.
But one great conversation. Boys. Boy?
All right. Very excited to kick off Partners Month. We have Allison and Brooke. Remind me what your team name is again, because every time I try to say it, it kind of doesn't really work out for me. So why don't you tell us what your team name is, and welcome to the show.
Brooke, thank you.
Thank you for welcoming us. Our team name is Girls Just Wanna Have Buoys.
Just want to have Buoys. Oh, okay.
Buoys.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. It's a good team name, but this has been an evolution in team names. So you guys weren't called this before. So why don't you tell us your team name evolution up to now?
Yeah, so our first swim run was 2 years ago in Casco Bay. And so at that point in time, I think we had also just learned the definition of type 2 fun. Brooke will tell you that for her, swim run is the type 1 fun event. But for me, it's definitely in the type 2 category, which means for at least half the time, I'm half miserable, but like also enjoying myself. Anyway, so we decided on type 2 island hoppers because of the island to island moves in Casco Bay. So like it made sense. It was good. We survived. It was good. Okay. Then we had another swim run. Can we keep going?
Yeah, go for it.
Please.
Okay.
Well, then our
Take
next
it away.
one. Our next one was the 2025 Casco Bay Swim Run.
A sprint though.
Oh, it was a sprint.
Yeah, we doubled our distance this year.
That's
so
right.
that was good.
So we did the sprint distance, and our name was For the Holy Donut, which is an homage to a very good donut.
Oh, we know it.
in Portland.
Yes.
Yeah,
Indeed.
exactly. Because by this point in time too, we felt like type 2 fun. She thinks it's type 1 fun. We need to move on to something else. And if we're doing the swim runs and we're in Portland, we might as well go get a donut after. But at that point in time, I think we thought, oh, maybe this is just going to be a Casco Bay thing until we signed up for Austin.
That's right. And how did we come up with the Austin name?
A friend at work helped me. Because I was basically like, I think for us swim run, like it's like we are just out there to have fun. And for instance, we're not always placing so highly in the rankings. She's like she was like, you know, we were thinking about these different names. So she helped me come up with it actually. But then also we're sort of amateurs to the sport. Like everybody out there is always like, they're using their buoys, they're using their paddles, they're fueling up. Like we learn from you guys about all this stuff, but we're just out there swimming in our sneakers. You know, like we've got a tether and very little equipment. So
Yeah, we don't use
Buoys
we
yet.
don't use buoys, and we don't use paddles, and we don't carry fuel, which I'm sure you would advise against. But maybe we have room to improve.
Yeah, exactly. But also this name is one that we think will carry us for all of the other races that we hope to do.
Right.
So there you have it.
Love it. You're workshopping different names. I like the localization for each race. You're calling homage to that. Holy Donut, you know, has a special place in Chris and I's heart. In 2018, when we did Casco Bay, before the race, you had your donuts after. Before the race, we hit, what was it, Chris? 3 or 4 donut shops before the race, which was probably, it was regrettable during the race. When we were having our own type 2 fun, we're like, maybe we shouldn't have had that third donut shop the day before. And one of those stops was Holy Donut.
But were they even open? I thought for your distance, the race starts at like 4 a.m.
Oh, we had them the day before.
It was a couple days before. We were going on a donut tour.
Okay, got it. Well, Portland offers a lot of donuts. That's true.
Really does.
Yeah,
It
we
really
hit all
does.
the spots.
Yeah, and your swimmer name evolution isn't that different than ours. I mean, our first race, we were Team Thunder Goats, then we were Team Dad Bods for a minute, and then Löw Tide Böyz. And Chipper, what was the incognito name that you came up with the other day? That we're like, oh, if we want to do a swim run, kind of like, you know, on the DL. Oh, it was a Chip and Dale.
Yeah.
Dale for me being Puerto Rican and Bad Bunny and, you know, Dale, all that stuff. So it was like, oh, that's a great secret team name. So if you see that coming out, I guess I just spoiled it for people.
Because it's not a secret anymore now.
So I kind of screwed that up. But we met you guys in person. I want to think it was it 20?
It was at Casco Bay.
It was at
Yeah.
Casco. We met you guys at Pack and Pick Up, or was it at some gift shop? I can't remember
well,
exactly.
I think we met you all a couple times. So do you want to talk? Or do you...
Well, no. Can we just tell the whole story of our first race?
Why don't you tell us a story about your first race and how you all came to be a partnership for Partners Month?
Excellent question, Chipper.
Thank you.
Hold on. Do we start at Casco Bay first race, or do we go back to further, like how we even did swim run?
Yeah. How did your two paths it is Partners Month. So how did your two solo paths converge into you two becoming partners?
Okay, so, well, first of all, if you go like the Wayback Machine story, is that Brooke and I are like, we've never been athletes. Like, not only are we not really, we're amateurs now, we also did not have like strong backgrounds doing anything like in high school or college, right? Okay.
Oh, no. I mean, I ran track in high school, but not because I was good at it, just for fun.
Yeah, I had a track beside my house, and it was a mile-long track. So, by the time I was in 7th grade and didn't have anything else to do, I could probably run about 5 miles. So I've always like really enjoyed running, but it's probably also for like mental health as much as for physical stuff. And also you're outside, like it's just a fun, activity that we've always done. But we're really not, we're not athletes. But I will say, like for me, like Brooke has 2 kids. I have 3 kids. I think like if you're working, like life just gets very busy. So you're sort of not doing anything. And then at least I would say from a female perspective who has kids, I think your youngest child gets into kindergarten and all of a sudden you're like, wait a minute, like I have free time. Like I can do other things with my life now. Like I can go for a run if I want to. So I think it was that time of life for both of us because our kids are similar ages. And so I think that was sort of going on in the background. And then I work with a guy who, at the time, he had like just turned 50. These decade birthdays will like mean a lot to people. And he was doing these Ironmans. But then he said, I'm going to do a sprint triathlon, which is a super short distance in a couple months. If you want to do it, you could. And so I think at that time, I don't think I knew you were a big swimmer at that point, Brooke. It was probably too early in the season too, because we're in New England. And so it's like February, not a lot of swimming's going on unless it's at your gym. But I started training for this sprint triathlon. And I will say the swimming component of it was the absolutely most terrifying thing I'd ever done. But I was also practicing in Walden Pond at the end of April. The water temperature was 55 degrees. I was wearing a wetsuit, but like
Risk.
the hyperventilation that occurs when you jump into water like that, when it's 55 degrees, I was not prepared for. Walden Pond is also 100 feet deep. So I was like, it was just this whole experience that was sort of fun. And I completed the race and it was fine. But then I was like, this was terrifying. Like it shouldn't be like terrifying. It should be fun. And so then I think we started talking about it.
That's right. And around the same time, I was swimming in the pool and admiring people. There's a place in Boston called Pleasure Bay. And there's a lot of open water swimmers who swim there. And I was watching them do that. And I was like, I need to do that. It's also true that year we both had taken a trip to Puerto Rico.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And
where the water's much warmer in April.
Much warmer.
And the vibe is completely different and not terrifying.
And felt inspired to swim in the open water. So we did.
And I think my first sprint triathlon was in this like reservoir situation, and it was in May outside of Boston. So again, the water's very cold, but then it started warming up later that summer. And so I think we, and maybe even a couple friends, started going to Walden Pond to swim with like increasing distances that summer. So like, first you just like stay on the edge and go like a couple 100 meters. Then you would go right across, and I would try not to be terrified. Like we got the little, the buoys. I try not to be terrified thinking that I was in like 100 feet deep water. I was terrified a lot. That's why she's laughing. And then we ended up, I guess, later that year swimming a mile in Walden Pond. So that's kind of a lot for people who don't swim. But then at the end of that year, we saw something going on at Walden Pond. Do you want to talk about that? Those people.
Oh, yeah. So that first summer, we saw 2 swim runners in Walden Pond. And we were swimming.
We know who you're talking about.
Dirksons.
Yeah.
What sucks? Yeah.
It's a guy-girl team, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, husband and wife, Greg and Bronwyn.
Yeah.
Yes. And we thought they looked ridiculous. And we watched them in the water.
They probably did.
Out with their sneakers on and then start running on the trails. And we were like,
What are these people doing? When they got out with their sneakers on, I was like, this is done. Like, who is doing this? And then they were connected together. And I thought, like, what could be more terrifying? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, okay.
I should say, though, like we both have fears of the open water. They're just different fears.
True.
So I think Allison has sort of fear of the
deep. Yes, it's like an existential crisis kind of fear. Just of deep water generally. But it's all in my head. I get it.
And my fear, I actually really like the deep. But I'm a little bit, I have 2. One is lake monsters.
Nessie and their ilk.
Yeah, but there really are, especially in New England. Like there's some stories like what is it? Like Lake Champlain has a lake monster supposedly.
Lake Memphremagog has a monster.
Yeah,
right.
so
we're waiting
kinda
to
makes
be like swimming along, and the monster emerges from the depths and opens its jaws and swallows us alive.
No, I'm fine with it. You're the one you're afraid of this one.
So that's a fear.
You're
But then
fine with getting swallowed? But yeah, okay. Well, you're fine with getting swallowed alive, but just if the water's too deep, that doesn't go for you.
No,
Like,
I'm just saying that, like,
Yeah.
I think Brooke has a deeper fear of the monsters. Like, I just
Okay.
more the fear of the deep water, but this is a legitimate fear, this next one.
oh
Just of, like, things on the edges and, like, the animals. And
no, I'm not really bothered by the animals, but actually it's the conditions. Like
Oh,
if
okay,
the
okay.
water is really choppy, if there are giant ocean swells like this.
yeah, but you
know?
didn't like seaweed to begin with.
Yeah.
I feel like she's gotten over her fear of all the little things that are in the water. Do you know what I mean? But that was the concern.
there's lots of stuff in there. It's a vast arena, the water.
Yeah.
So you saw the Boston Wet Sox rifle out of Walden Pond, and you were like gobsmacked by this. Like, what are they doing? How did you go from you saw swim runners to like, I need to do one of these?
So I thought we might have talked to them, sort of like how we were tracking you guys down, but evidently that's not true. I think they probably ran away and we couldn't get to them fast enough. But I think we just looked up what they were doing, and we were looking at people tied together who were swimming and running with their shoes on. And Swimrun is what came up. And I think there's something on there's a Cape Cod swim run that's not an Attila branded event. And I think it was coming up right around the corner. I think we did talk to these people there, or maybe it was another time. But anyway, they told us about it. And then I think from all of our triathlon experiences, we enjoyed the triathlons, but they were, I would say, like very manicured events. You know, like you're swimming in this like one direction and then you're coming back. It's almost like, well, I mean, yeah, this could be disagreed with, but I think for us, like triathlon was a little bit more similar to like camping, whereas swim run was a little bit more like backpacking. Like it's something that you have to like really be in the water, be on the trails, and like immerse yourself in the full experience, even to be able to go to these places and to do it. And so this like, I think this adventure nature side was a draw, and we never really liked the bike,
Yeah.
to be honest.
I mean, those are all valid points. I
Really
really
great
love
reasons not to do it.
I really love that analogy because it really is like camping, like car camping versus
Yeah, glamping.
hiking into a campsite type thing, right? It's just they're very different animals in terms of how much crap you can put in your truck and make it like
Carry it
filet
all.
mignon for dinner versus nasty freeze-dried food.
Yeah. And I'll also say that the folks who are really good at triathlons, like their bikes cost thousands of dollars. And the bikes that we were using for triathlon, I mean, barely had 7 years probably. You know what I mean? And so like we would be passed with great frequency when we were doing those. So, okay.
Well, it is funny meeting Bronwyn and Greg, or at least seeing them in Walden Pond. If you were able to stop them, I'm sure they'd be happy to have talked with you, but they're so fast that it's probably hard to get a word in edgewise when they're just kind of sprinting off into the distance kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. But how do we get to Casco Bay then? I guess we just decided we thought it'd be fun to try.
Well, yes. I think Allison looked it up and we found out what this was. And then she has a friend with a house on Casco Bay.
Yeah, we figured
And-
that out.
And, you know, it's easy. I think originally Allison planned to do it with her husband. And then he backed out. And because she's a friend, I was like, okay, I'll do this with you. Although, honestly, I really didn't want to do it. I was like, I don't want to swim in my sneakers. But then we did it.
Okay.
And I loved it.
Actually, I bet what happened here, I think my husband sees it as like his job. Like Allison wants to go to a concert, I'll go to the concert. Allison wants to go to a show, I'll go to a show. But he probably doesn't always love these activities. Do you know what I mean? So he was probably like, I'll be your backup. And if Brooke will do it with you, I will love it forever. And then you guys could be out of the house. But I think it works out better because also we're just more similarly, I think. I mean, you're a stronger swimmer for sure. But I think we're just more similarly skilled too. And I mean, I guess you do have these like husband-wife teams or like guy-girl teams, but I think it's kind of helpful to be on the same page or at least have the same level of like competitiveness or enjoyment with the activity so people don't get disappointed. And like, I think we're easy on each other because we're just there having fun.
Yeah, I mean, your goals, what we talk about, like what makes such a successful partnership is really having alignment in your goals. And it sounds like you two were just wanting to go out there and have fun and not get eaten by any sea creatures and not sink to the depths of any oceans. And those are your goals, and you were able to accomplish that. So it makes sense why you had such a great time.
Yeah. And we were also, the friend's house that we stayed at in Casco Bay, we were actually able to talk him and his son into doing the race that year too, the experience race. Yeah, and his son is like college age. And I mean, they were phenomenal, but it was only funny because this particular guy loves bike riding. He's like, I would say like in his mid 50s. He's a cyclist. He's going on like, 100-mile bike rides. And I would ask him, Marco, how have you trained for Casco Bay? Like, are you prepared? And he would say, I went on a 4-hour bike ride today. And so I think for him, he just wanted to be like in zone 2. And his idea is that if his cardio is good, yeah, anything else is fine. And then, of course, his son's like college age. And I think you could definitely have a couch to Casco Bay experience when you're, 20.
For sure, for sure. Well, I have to ask you guys a question. So you talked about being afraid of deep water, being afraid of ocean animals, seaweed, and critters. Did all these fears go away once you did Casco? Because Casco is like replete with all these things.
It has a lot of those things going on. Kelp?
No. I would say, well, I would say the fears don't go away. It's just that we just keep doing it anyway.
Yeah. And I think that's like, and that's the thing that I really like about Swimrun though, is that I feel like it's vast enough that it's challenging, but it's not so challenging that you can't do it. And I'm sure some people could look at this and say, oh my gosh, what you're doing is a little crazy, but it's not if you start at these baby steps. And I think we've definitely taken baby steps, but it always sort of keeps you at like the edge of what you're capable of, which is also like interesting. And I would say it also like, as soon as you get like confident with one element, then like humility comes in, which we can talk about like maybe our second Casco Bay experience there too, like with the.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Do we want to go there yet?
No, we haven't.
Well, you had your first swimrun experience. Was it kind of like you're immediately hooked after that first transition or two? That's how we feel most of these people are. Like, okay, you get that first run, you're in the water, you're swimming, you're out. You're like, wow, this is kind of a pretty fun adventure. Didn't get eaten by Nessie. And you're off, and you got the bug. Is that how you all caught it?
Yeah, but I think we caught the bug before we were at Casco Bay.
Do you know I don't think. Yeah, maybe you did, but I really didn't. Okay. And it was at the.
It's turned into like therapy session, couples therapy.
Definitely by the end of the race, we felt like we wanted to do it again.
Yeah.
But let me just add a few interesting details of our first race, and one of those is that.
Please.
We got lost in the woods. We were with a group, so it wasn't just the two of us, but a whole bunch of people just went sort of off the trail. And we went for a while before we realized that we were not really on the race trail anymore. So we had to backtrack.
Yeah.
And I think that was the reason why our competitor friends, beat us by like 10 minutes.
The ones whose house we stayed at. Yeah. They didn't get lost. Well, and also that year, I think, again, at Casco Bay, it's a lot different, the idea of like going from island to island than just like in a lake of like stiller water. There's a lot of current. Sometimes there's swells and other things going on. So I had my security blanket buoy with me, one of the blow up pull behind buoys that people use to swim. Yeah. But I think I had jumped off the big bridge like in the first swim, but I'd forgotten to, I decided that I wasn't going to carry it the whole time. I was just going to have it beside me deflated just in case I needed it in the middle, but I had forgotten to tighten it. And so by the time we get out of the first swim, it's full of like over a gallon of water. And so for the rest of the race, I'm just trying to like squeeze out the water so that I'm not carrying this baby with me the whole time. But I'm just saying a lot of these things that we're doing is a little bit of self-sabotage, I think. But it also makes us feel like that to the extent we keep doing this, we should be able to avoid these in the future.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
And I think that's how our paths originally crossed. Chris and I tried to play it up to our family sometime. Oh, hey, when we go to Portland, Maine for like 3 days during the year, we're like kind of micro celebrities in town. And we probably referenced your story. We were in a gift shop trying to get some souvenirs for the family. And then you all were like, are you guys the Löw Tide? I mean, obviously we're wearing all full Löw Tide Böyz hats and shirts. And we're like, how did you guess? I can't believe that. Oh yeah, we are the Löw Tide Böyz. But I think that's that like Maine store, like a Maine as in the state Maine store. And they sell a lot of Maine things there.
I mean, we were trying to not follow you all through the city of Portland, but we accidentally just ended up in the same place that you were multiple times.
Well, and I think what happened is that Brooke saw you right after packet pickup, because I think you all had a video out at the time about tethering, maybe like to tether or not, or with, yeah, right? Is
Yeah,
that what
about
it
tether,
was?
about
Yeah,
the
yeah,
tether.
to tether or
Possible.
not. Yeah, but I think we saw you all. We understood then that you were the Löw Tide Böyz, and then I think we ended up running into you again in the main gift shop. But we did not do our selfie with you whenever we saw you the first time, and so I think we felt like this is our first time like doing a swim run. If we want to be legit, we need this. We need this selfie with the Löw Tide Böyz, and so
That'll do it.
I think we felt pretty bad because I think saw you in the storefront, and it was like, should we go in? Should we go? And then we went in. And then we got the selfie. But then I think, as always happens, we realized like we're not on social media. Like I have no Instagram. Like I have none of this stuff. And so I was like, well, there's nowhere for me to post this. I think I just sent it to the friends that did Casco Bay with us later that day, whose house we stayed. But it was fun.
We're always happy to chat with anyone, just so everybody knows. You can stop us, whatever, no issues. And we're always at Otto's Pizza as well.
You guys are amazing ambassadors of the sport. It's the genuine appreciation for what you do.
And if you're ever looking up anything, you all have said something about it, which is super helpful too.
Yeah, well, that's all Chipper for being sort of an SEO wizard. So it's like, what are people searching for? And let's produce content to specifically answer these questions. So,
Wow.
all that credit goes to Chipper. And certainly, we usually save like people trying to like thank us and stuff till the end. So let's keep.
We
keep
got it
on
out of the way now.
Yeah. So you do your first swim run, you have a good experience, you want to keep doing them. What was it about? This is Partners Month, so it's always really interesting to think about, okay, how did you know? Obviously, you've been doing a lot of training together. How did you know that you guys were compatible and just kind of wanted to do this thing and kind of see how far you could go in the sport?
I mean, I don't know. We had a lot of other options.
No,
There's one another too. I just think a good friend is somebody who's willing to go on these adventures with you. And we have lots of friends who like to swim or run, but it's a bit of a commitment. Both of us enjoyed it, especially the open water piece, because we're always together when we're open water swimming. We'll run separately and do our own things, but there's also a safety piece there. I feel like you're a very reliable partner. And we're not too hard on ourselves. Like sometimes people need a day off, but we're always willing to be there, do it together.
Nice.
And we also live like 4 houses away from each other. So that helps.
That's very helpful.
Yeah. So when we're up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and we have to drift to 5:30, it's just okay.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. And I also think that for us with Swimrun, I mean, there's more to say, I think, probably about like the partnership piece. But I also think at this time of life, things need to be easy or there's not going to happen. And so, for instance, we were going to Walden Pond for a long time, but that was like further away, from our house. So then we found like a smaller sort of pond lake thing that we could do that was more in our neighborhood. And that meant that we could like easily go 2 times a week because we would be able to go before work. We wouldn't have to just go on the weekends. And so I think just finding things that like actually worked for us was really helpful.
Nice. Okay, so you got Casco. You had a great time. You're training together. You're neighbors. So a lot of good synergies there from a partnership perspective. Which one of you was like, hey, I found one in Austin. Maybe we should go down here. Or there's some other swim runs around that kind of had you all looking to expand your horizons outside of Portland, Maine.
I think Allison found it.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, the
Yeah.
Austin one,
The
probably. Yeah. Well, and also for us, it's a lot just about scheduling, like when can you get a weekend off? Because if you're doing this, then you're not at the soccer tournament, all weekend or something. So I think it's just a lot of trying to figure out where things fit. And we'll talk about like how we signed up for the 2 in 2025, but also we'll sometimes like have neighborhood events where we just like get together a couple friends and we call it like our quadrathlon, which means we're just biking to this lake I was telling you about before. We're swimming in it, we're biking back home and then like running around somewhere. So I think for us, for us, it's about having fun and figuring out how it can fit in like later, but sometimes it means we can't just do the swim run. Like sometimes we're maybe just doing a swim. For instance, like downtown, there's like a mile or 2 mile swim events every year. We'll do things that are like that just as a part of our training routine. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah, certainly from a parent aspect, there's lots of schedules and 3-5 kids between you all. There's lots of things to juggle, soccer, football, whatever you're doing. So making it all work certainly isn't an easy feat, and to align two separate family schedules is not easy. Chris and I are fully aware of that, recognize how much effort it takes to make that work. And I love how you're all making it local, as bringing your little community in there as well, which is a big part of what we love about Swimrun is the community.
Yeah, I think that both of us have had a lot of enjoyment out of the people that we've met as part of this process. For instance, the swimming community is probably the biggest one. Like Brooke had mentioned before, whenever we went to Pleasure Bay, which is in the South Boston area, we met folks there who have swam across the English Channel before. Whenever you're with those folks, it just seems like anything could be possible. I will frequently get queasy whenever I'm swimming in ocean water. I once took a surf lesson and had to bail out halfway through because I felt too queasy. But then these women that have, and they just happen to be women, the folks we've met, but these women that have swam across the English Channel, they're like, oh, I get queasy too. You just vomit and you just keep going. But all of a sudden, it's like, there's nothing wrong with you feeling queasy. It's just like the way it goes. And you just vomit and then you'll feel better. But hearing people, I think, that have experienced and like met and faced these challenges that are like really big, I think makes it feel like, oh, we can swim a mile. Like even if there's two jellyfish. Yeah, Brooke got stung by jellyfish.
Yeah,
once on that.
And I would add too, the English Channel swimmers inspired us in that we learned that when you swim the English Channel, you don't just swim in a straight line from one point to the next. Like you swim like a curved path because of the currents. So, I mean, it just helps us understand, like when we were in Casco Bay and there's these giant swells coming
in
at
2025, the second time when we did the sprint one.
Like everyone deals with this and, you're not going to overcome a current. And so you just have to figure out how to swim through it.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I mean, a lot of the things when we talk about swimrun, which is often obviously, is the less you kind of start resisting and kind of fighting against it and just kind of go, take what it gives you and just kind of try to be in conversation with it rather than fighting against it. Like you end up being able to do more than you think is possible because you're not like kind of pushing against the wall. You're just like, hey, what's the path of least resistance here? And it's understanding currents is really helpful. You got to swim tack to the right because the current's heading to the left. And it's such a great point that like, yeah, you feel queasy, you just throw up. Sometimes you got to poop your suit. Hopefully you haven't had that experience yet and never will, but sometimes you got to poop the suit and, it's just like it needs to happen. Or if you're chipper, sometimes you need to pee like right in front of some poor swim runner, some unsuspecting rookie swim runner. I'm curious, when you went back to Casco for 2025, whose idea was it to step up the distance from the experience to the sprint?
Both?
Yes, probably both. Yeah.
I think
as soon as let's do it.
Yeah, like as soon as we finished the experience, we were like, we can do the sprint. We were just uncertain when we started, but it's exactly, I know you guys have talked about this on your show, is that like when you take breaks from the running and the swimming, like it helps you. Like I don't normally run, say 9 miles, but it really is just fine when you're swimming in between.
Yeah, and I think your sort of path on taking that step up from experience to sprint is certainly common, or sprint to World Series is kind of like for that first one, there's a lot of unknowns. How's this gear going to work? Your legs aren't going to be as trashed on the runs, but till you actually experience it and check some of those boxes in your head, it's like, oh, okay, my legs are feeling good. I can do this. And it's a good vote of confidence for yourself that, hey, the next time registration opens up, you can tackle the big one. So does that mean that you all are on for the World Series this year?
Yeah, probably not. We did think about it in Austin, though, just because I think of the way that course is, it seems sort of doable. Well, so I think that we always like the idea of challenging ourselves and sort of doing the next thing. But I think that also means our training probably has to take a step up. And then it's like, do you have the time in the day to commit yourself to this? And I know me in particular, I'm a slower swimmer. than Brooke. And I feel like that will slow us down. And also, I should say, I never actually had any swim training. So this is another problem. We've signed up for a master swim class now that's like 3 times a week. I probably need to actually get a personal swim trainer to really help me, to be honest. Because I just don't have any, like, swimming is a technique heavy sport. And I just don't have the technique. I think there's certain steps that we need to take on the training side to be prepared. When I was in my 20s, I might have run a marathon, but I haven't run anything more than a half marathon distance in the past decade, probably. And so that's also just like a different level of fitness. And then you're getting older, and then your knee hurts, and then your back hurts, you know? And so I think we haven't quite hit our stride probably yet with the endurance piece of that. But the sprint distance, I think, feels good for a while.
Yeah. And I think I would also add that I don't feel any shame in running and swimming shorter distances. I mean, obviously the World Series,
You shouldn't.
you guys and many very impressive athletes, and that's certainly admirable. But some people don't feel like I never had an aspiration to run a marathon. I don't know why. I didn't want to do the same thing for that many hours. And so, like, I also don't want to wake
That's a
up.
good reason right there.
Yeah. But I don't want to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, say. Like, 6, okay, I can do. But I'm happy doing the sprint distance. And maybe if someday I catch a bug and I want to run a lot further, we can do that. But I don't know. I'm
Love
happy.
it.
We do.
You know, I actually think that's really refreshing because, I mean, we mentioned on the show, not every swim run journey or story arc needs to be some hero journey to the world championship in Sweden, right? It can just be whatever you want it to be. So if sprint feels good and that's enough time and you're still having fun with it, like, yeah, why does it need to be more than that? I think that's such a healthy perspective.
But I'm telling you, in a couple of years, she's going to want to do the World Series distance in Casco Bay. Only because, especially the Casco Bay race, just the idea of going from island to island, I think is particularly sort of fun and like a very unique experience.
For sure.
But I do think in terms of some goals for this year, I do think that we have a goal of like getting more equipment and just like making it a little bit more, I don't know what you want to call it.
Streamline. Like try to actually be strategic.
Yeah. And I know that Attila's doing this April thing, I think, in Austin, like the weekend training session.
Oh, the camp.
Yeah, the camp. Yeah. Marcus Burton and a woman, I can't remember her name. I think they're going to be leading it. Yeah.
Trista.
I'm not sure that we will be able to go to that, but that is like probably the exact type of training that we need at this point. Mm-hmm. Like we can throw ourselves, you know, sort of into the water and, you know, and run for a while. But I think we need to focus on like making smoother transitions and then also taking advantage of like the buoy and the paddles, because I mean, we're using a lot of energy, and I think it'd be a little better if we had some equipment to help us.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, that's one of the great things about just preaching to the choir, obviously, but like the idea that there's room for self-expression. You don't want to use buoy and you don't want to use a buoy and paddles. Like that's fine. You can still do the sport and have fun. Like certainly it's a little bit more efficient. You can probably a little bit quicker if you're, you know, accustomed to paddles and you're using a buoy and stuff like that. But, you know, it's not required. The only requirement from our side of things is like the vibe check. And you guys are obviously, you know, if you've done 3 of these things, you've obviously passed the vibe check. I am curious. So Austin was your first swim run outside of Maine. What did you think of that race? And what was it like to really travel to a race?
We liked the race. One of the highlights of the race was so we were running the sprint distance and we were on the final run. Was it the final? No, it was the penultimate run just before the last swim. Yeah.
Yeah. Were you just going in circles and you're like, I hear people,
like
but I'm not getting any closer?
I'm hearing the finish line.
That's the weirdest way.
But yeah, we were getting close to the end when you guys ran past us. So,
That's right.
I mean,
yeah, that's right.
And we tried to catch up with you, but it was really sort of a highlight to be on the trail with you guys at the same time. And sort of just a couple minutes after that, I think we started the final swim, which we found really challenging. Like, it was really...
That's a doozy.
But I think on your race report, you guys did not mention it as being super challenging. And I looked at Brooke and I thought, I think this is the difference in skill level a little bit, you know? But which is not a
Yeah, I mean-
we've done like 30 of these things, so it's a little bit different. But yeah, so I remember running past you guys and like chatting up a little bit, and there was this solo runner who was also doing the long course. He was like, "Oh, I wish people would be happy to see me," and stuff like that. You know, it was like kind of this weird statement. And I think Chipper, I think you're like, "Oh yeah, we'll just like launch a podcast and run it for 5 years or something."
But it was very energizing for us, and I was pretty possessed at that point to get it done. So I think I was probably charging on, but it was great to have some hooting and hollering for us. I always appreciate it.
well, yeah, exactly. But I think we may not have even recognized you all, but if you remember on that trail, there was a point where the trees were so close together, you basically had to be single file. And so whenever I heard people coming behind me, I had to move over, which then required me to see that it was you all. And so I was like, yeah, it was pretty exciting. And you all tether when you run. Is that true?
Sometimes.
for
Yeah,
the
I would say
majority of the
depending
race.
what's going on, depending how people are feeling. If one of us is a little bit low energy, maybe we deploy the tether on the run to make sure we stay in contact, because you get that haptic feedback of I'm going super slow. Chipper doesn't need to ask me why I'm going slow. He can just feel it and modulate his effort. Sometimes we take it off if it's a wide trail so we can run side by side without tripping over
Chat
each
it up.
other. But for the most part, we try to keep it on because it's just kind of like one less thing to worry about.
Yeah. But I think like that's another thing we're learning is like, do we want to tether for every swim or just some of the swims? And like, who should be leading a swim? Because as of right now, we just are jumping in the water, you know, like we're going on a swim, you know, together and we're not getting that drafting. I mean, I'm just saying we have a lot to learn, I think.
We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun of it is like what we hear a lot too is, you know, if you want to use the buoy and paddles, you can. If you want to go carbon fiber, you can. You want to tether, go for it. If not, whatever. Like you can just do your own thing. If you want to race it balls to the wall the whole time, go for it. If you just want to like get to the dock and be like, hey, who wants to swim? Let's figure it out when we're going. You can take it at your own pace, which, yeah, it's just anything is welcome within Swimrun, which I think is why such a diverse set of people get into it and find such enjoyment out of it.
Yeah. And so we're still trying to figure out what swim runs I think we want to do for 2026. We've signed up for Casco Bay, but are trying to figure out if any others will fit.
Yeah. I'd really like to do
interesting.
Uto because I really like Stockholm, but I don't know if I'll convince
Us too.
Allison to travel across the ocean.
Oh my God.
Well,
That'd be
if I'm available, I'll do it.
There are jellyfish in Sweden. I will let you know. They're kind of small, but
Yeah, they don't
get
sting
you.
They're just kind of like hanging out.
But there's
Yeah, but
hundreds
they do
of them when
exist.
you're swimming.
Wow.
Every race or
Okay.
just like the one or two, you know what I mean?
It kind of depends on the swim and then the water temps. So if the water temps are a little bit warm, there might be more jellyfish than otherwise and things like that. But yeah, again, they're harmless. It's more of just like a curiosity
Cool thing, yeah.
thing as you're swimming, and they're just kind of like, floating on by, what have you. But yeah, Uto was awesome. I mean, that's a race that's on our bucket list as well, just because it's the birthplace of the sport and it's a super fun place to do swimrun. And when you go over there, it seems just so obvious that the sport would be invented there. I don't know, because it's just like the island's
It's just
right
clear.
there. I don't want to stop running. Let me just like swim real quick. It's
And
great.
you lived there for a little while, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So I lived there when I was in my 20s,
Nice.
and it's kind of like the place I grew up. So yeah, I have a real sentimental attachment to Stockholm and really like to go swim run there.
Oh, well, yeah, you would have a great time.
Yeah.
I can guarantee that.
Yeah, and then you already know about the fika, so we don't need to sell you on that.
It's true.
And
Do you
also,
speak Swedish?
yeah, a little.
A little, yeah.
Jag.
Lite. Pratar du
Out
svenska?
over my head, I had no idea.
Jag,
what happened.
jag älskar svenska.
Vad är bra? Jättebra.
Yeah.
Wow, Kristen, you fired up Duolingo again. What happened
Yeah,
here?
No, this is old Duolingo stuff. I only know like random stuff like bread and butter and whatever. Things like that.
my-
All the food stuff I know
Important
pretty
things.
well. But yeah, so you already signed up for Casco this year, again doing the sprint, and then maybe Uta, which would be just epic. We'd have to get a race report for you guys after that for sure. And then you're thinking like maybe another race on the US calendar potentially.
Yeah, I really wanted to do Catalina, I will say, like in April, because it also just aligned like perfectly with like a family schedule. But that, of course, is like not on the calendar this year. So I'm hoping it will come back in the future. I know folks talk about orcas, like there's, I don't know, we're looking into it. And I think we're definitely going to try to do the swim run that's on the Cape later in the year. But I think it's just nice if we could do some event like in the, in the first half of the year, but I'm not sure which one that would be. The Stockholm one would fit in, I think, there.
Be awesome. That'd be awesome. It's also because you're East Coast, it's like you just save so
It's a
much
little
time
easier
on the
to get
travel
over
from
there,
us.
Yeah.
Dare I say that we would have even done that race if we also lived on the East Coast.
Yeah. But, and then also, I know that this has come up before too, is like, how do you make this work with like family stuff? But so for instance, whenever we did Austin, like it made a lot of sense that particular weekend because you had your.
Oh, like I had a college reunion in Texas. So
Yeah.
it kind of like
a different
with the
city,
schedule.
but like the same weekend. And then I was like, I have 3 kids and I was able to take my oldest kid. And then my mom, who lives in a different state, was able to come and she'd never been to Austin before. So it ended up being this like really, fun event where like my mom is there, my son is there, Brooke is there. She got to go to her reunion, but then we could all come together and there wasn't as much family pressure if you take like one kid with you. And then also right when we were finishing the Austin race, my mom and son had Ubered there and like they got to like, or actually not even at the finish, we were still on the run. I guess we were finishing that second to last run, but they got to like see us and cheer us on. And so I think, yeah, and there's also like just a piece of this like with your kids, I think, like seeing you like being active and doing something that you enjoy. And I mean, a lot of people can enjoy their jobs and like I enjoy my job, but this is like a totally different element that I think gives like a fabric, like texture to life that helps people know, there's lots of things you can do to increase your happiness. And so, and
For
I
sure.
think
Oh, for
one
sure.
of those, things for us. So.
increasing our happiness.
Absolutely. And I think, we mention it basically every race report. Like the real MVPs for us is our families that are, kind of pick up the slack so we can go off and, gallivant and do these adventures. And we certainly, it enriches our life, but, we'd like to think that it's really not possible without them. And I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way of your husbands and, kind of like managing the kids so you guys can exercise and live out your, quote unquote, endurance dreams such as they are. But it is such a big piece. And I think for Partners Month, it's like, it's always worth remembering. It's like, yes, there's your swimmer partnership, but then there's your life partnership.
life
And your swimmer
partners, yeah.
partnership probably isn't possible without your life partnership kind of being sorted out as well, right?
No,
Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
yeah, that's absolutely for sure. And then also, I think sometimes the kids are still little, but like hopefully the kids will be able to do these types of things. And like I know we're trying to get Brooke's oldest son at a swim run event.
Yeah,
soon.
maybe as a spectator.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's you got to start somewhere.
yeah, he's like ice fishing right now.
Wow. Nice. Well, Austin seems to be the place for the under 18 racers. I think there was like 5 this year that raced the Austin events of young adults, including
mother,
Trista's
daughter.
Yeah, Trista's daughter, who's 12. It was her second time doing it. So, certainly really cool. Swimrun just kind of makes more sense to kids because it's like they're not, they haven't been jaded by 20 years of being an adult. And like, yeah, why wouldn't you just like run into the water and swim to the other side? Like, it makes sense. Who cares if my shoes are wet kind of stuff? Kids are just all about that.
Yep, it's true. And I have a daughter who's 9 who knew that we were like having a lot of fun sneaking out of the house early in the morning to go swimming all summer long. And so I took her one day in the fall and she just loved it. It was just pure joy running through the water and seeing the geese. So if I can share that joy with her, it would be amazing.
That's great.
Yeah,
You
it's
can,
certainly on
tow
our
around
bucket
at
list to
Walden
race
Pond.
with our kids.
You get a big raft and then tow it around your waist and tow them around Walden Pond.
I'll let Brooke do the towing for that.
Yeah. I think
You might need
that's-
paddles for that one.
I think it's the Dirksons do that, I think. With the,
They
or
take
at least they used to before they had twins. But yeah, they used to put their daughter Gwen in like an inflatable and just kind of like swim her across the lake and stuff.
Okay, we're gonna have to look up these folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're quite notable.
Yeah. They're
For sure.
basically the greatest American swim runners team ever, most decorated. The only American team ever to win an Attila race.
Okay, I did not know
World
this.
Series
I mean,
race.
I knew they looked good at Walden Pond. I mean, and I'm assuming.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm basically
everywhere.
their unofficial publicist. They're beasts. It's like a rite of passage of U.S. swim runners to be beaten by them in a race.
Yeah.
Have we been beaten?
And Greg has great hair as well.
Always,
unmatched
all the
hair.
time.
Yeah. So it's really good. Awesome. Well, I can't think of a better way to close out Partners Month than chatting with you two. The non-athletic background, got into triathlon, found your way into Swimrun, and what a great partnership. And yeah, you're a couple of neighbors as well, but you seem to get along well and really enjoy that type 2 and type 1 fun. Maybe a little bit of both of those.
That's exactly right. Thank you
Yes.
for having us, though. I feel that we are normally performing okay. Like, we're probably more average performers. I think on the swim run, we're a little bit below average performers. But the level of athletes that come out to these events, it is really cool to watch them. Like, and we had, I think, in Austin, Marcus Barton was there doing his charity, run thing. I think he's like on the Wikipedia page for Swim Run. We met someone else who was a former Olympian that stayed in our little campground cabin area. But like hearing all of these stories was amazing. But like people were still excited for us, I think. And so, it felt very accepting. And I think that's also what makes us want to come back out and like do more events, is just because it's a good time for us, but it's also like a good community to be a part of. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Well
can't
said.
agree more.
Well, we'll see you at Casco then. And maybe Holy Donut before or after.
Yeah.
Maybe both.
Right after.
I think both is even better. Oh my goodness. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
That's it for this week's episode. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and leave a wet rating or review, since that's the best way to help other people discover the show and the sport of swim run.
Check out our website, lowtideboys.com. That's boys with a Z, for swimrun resources, including gear guides, tips, how-to videos, and so much more. Make sure to check out our meme page at the Löw Tide Böyz on Instagram. If you have any questions or suggestions for the show, send us a DM or email us at lowtideboys@gmail.com.
We'd like to thank Riding Easy Records for our show music, and of course our wives for their support and tolerance of our swim run and other activities.
Lots of activities.
Lots of activities.
Finally, you can support our efforts on Patreon. Until next time, get out there and go for a swim.
Then a run,
And then a swim,
then another run,
then another swim.
then run some more.
Just keep going.
Let's go.
And then stop at some point because,
And fuel. Don't forget to fuel.
Gotta fuel
Of
too.
course, yes.